Good evening. Thanks for joining us for tonight's webinar. My name is Ned Johnson. I'm the president of PrepMatters. Successfully navigating the testing and college admissions process involves a lot of individualized planning. It is my intent to share with you this evening some of the finer points of that process so that you and your family can be well informed and well prepared to make the best decisions for your children. In the next 30 minutes, we want to cover the 7 things to know about score choice, testing, and college admissions. Number 1. Score choice, no choice. What scores to send and when to send them. What was designed to be an easy system has in fact become a good deal more complicated. With one caveat, the score policy of SAT and College Board has always been one of cumulative score reports. What that means is that when a student would send one SAT or one subject test, he or she was forced to send all of the scores. This meant that students really wanted to be cautious in how they took tests, knowing that any test that was taken, the score for that would be sent to colleges or universities. The ACT historically had exactly the opposite policy that allowed score choice, meaning that a student could take the test multiple times and then, after all the tests had been done, choose the score date that had the best total scores and choose to send that score, or more than one if he or she chose, send that score to universities. So students really had a free shot at taking the test multiple times, knowing that there was insurance, and if the test went well, hey, I'll send the score, and if it didn't go well, there wasn't a problem. That score would not come back to haunt them. The new story is different. In June of 2008, College Board announced that they too were going to have a policy of score choice like the ACT that would allow students to choose to send the SAT from, say, the January SAT rather than the May SAT, sending along just the scores from the day that the test went best. Also, for the subject tests, that I could take the literature and the math both twice, and if the literature was a better score on June and the math was a better score on May, I can choose the test from the day that I want and the test that I want and send along just the higher score. That led all of us and students to think, gosh, we can go and take the test multiple times. I have total protection, no concern. I don't need to prepare as much. Everything will be great. The real story, of course, is more complicated. A lot of colleges and universities, for a number of reasons, did not take well to this policy and declared to students that, well, College Board may say that there is this score choice policy, but we are going to ask you when you apply to university to send us all of your scores. So though while there is no direct enforcement mechanism that a college can reach into your account at College Board, when you apply to that college, you are signing your name at the bottom of that application that says that the information that you have provided is accurate and complete. This understandably could put you in a position where you might have to choose between being honest and doing what is in your own self-interest. So, in order for you to be in the position that you can both maintain your integrity and also use your scores in a way that serve your best purposes for admissions, we're going to treat the whole process like it was in the old story, as though score choice really exists for all the schools that you're going to apply to. And this is not complicated. All that this means is that you are not going to go and take an SAT or a subject test unless you have reasonable confidence that you're going to do well. You're not going to go and take the test just to see how it goes. You're going to be prepared. You'll take a practice test. You'll do whatever preparation is necessary to put yourself in the position to have the potential to score as well as you need to score. Now, if you take the test and you don't do well and your score is, darn it, a little bit lower than you wanted it to be, that's fine. Totally fine. You'll take it again, you'll meet with your tutor again, you'll take another class, you'll read another book, and go and take the test again, and it won't be a problem. Colleges are going to cut you some slack. They will generally use your best scores to your betterment, but we simply don't want to go in there and knowingly get a score, sort of foolishly, unpreparedly take the test and get a score that is really far below where you ultimately want to end up being. So, the takeaway, be prepared. Take the test when you're prepared and have every expectation of doing well. Which brings us to number 2. One test, two tests, all tests, no tests. Well, one of the side effects of the score choice policy that College Board has tried to put in place is that it's led people to think, I should take everything. People now look at both the SAT and the ACT legitimately as perfectly viable tests for college admissions to any college that you could possibly want to apply to. And so folks are thinking, I'll take the SAT and the ACT, and whichever one I get the better score on, I'll send those scores along. Well, we know, of course, that score choice is not watertight, and so we want to be careful with what we do and how we prepare. But we also really want to be careful about how we use our time. Taking the SAT and the ACT makes a lot of sense if you really can't figure out which one you're going to do better on. But chances are you probably can figure out which test you're going to do better on. Apart from wasting a lot of Saturday mornings taking every test that ever was, really trying to divide your effort among two tests likely may leave you conquered, that you kind of spread yourself too thin, and neither test comes out being really the best that it could be. And so this issue of which test should I do is tied in with, well, the whole college admissions question of, here are the colleges that I think I'm looking at, and what do they want from me? Do they want the SAT? Do they want the ACT? Will they take either? Do I need subject tests? You want to try to plan your junior year and think about what are the tasks that I need to get done? What tests do I need to be successful on so that I have all the choices open to me for the colleges that I'm interested in applying to? But we don't want to do more work than we need to. If a college doesn't require everything, then we sure don't want to take everything. So you really want to do some research and figure out what are the testing requirements for the colleges that you're really going to be interested in. Now, finding out this information early on is important, and we've done a little bit of work to help you out with this. So on our next slide, we have on our website a compilation of the testing policies for the 150, 60 so colleges that you're probably most interested in. I would surf over to our website, take a look at this, and just look through and say, oh yeah, that school, I'm definitely interested in that. And read through this and say, do I need 3 subject tests? Do I need 2 subject tests? Is the score graded on a 1600 versus 2400 scale? If it's a 1600 scale, then that college or university is saying, we really don't care that much about the writing. So take a little bit of the time that you might have spent preparing for the writing and use that to prepare for the math or the reading. Same kind of thing with subject tests. This is a really, really useful place for you to do the research and figure out what you need to accomplish over the course of your junior year. Now, back to our one test, two test. You don't want to take both the SAT and the ACT. You want to investigate on your own, with a book, with a tutor, with a class. Of course, we're happy to help. That's what we do here. You want to figure out which of these tests you are most likely to be successful on. So go to the next slide and talk for a moment about the SAT versus the ACT.